Another lower body day. Continuing guys with some tips that have helped me in my progress in squat, bench, deadlift, getting stronger, getting leaner. Everything's going well. Hit a new low. I think my lowest low body weight was 220, like 0.8. Today I was 220.2. I know that may seem like nothing, but that's half a pound. So the goal is to always just get that trend heading downwards. Food's still going good. Macronutrients are something like 350 carb or so, 220 protein, about 70 fat. No cardio, just as high frequency, or a little higher frequency for me, lifting. So the goal today, or what I'm thinking about today when I'm deadlifting, is kind of this teeter-totter effect, getting your weight back, getting your weight kind of behind the bar. That may be confusing because some people talk about where your shoulder should be in relation to the bar and should be over it, and it should. But if you get your weight going back, your hips kind of falling back, pushing back. I call it kind of the teeter-totter effect, where you're using the barbell to keep your body weight up while you're pushing, really falling back into your hamstrings. We're gonna load up our hamstrings and glutes. We're gonna load up the bar, pulling tension out of the bar, pulling slack out of the bar, which is a common term, which in turn will distribute that load throughout our body, hopefully in our glutes, hams, and quads, more so than our low back. Often when we're too far above the bar, and when we bend over, we bend chest first, not hips back, to grab the barbell, and then all the load goes into our low back. That's why a bunch of these, a little bit more beginner, or even people that are strong, just because you pull 600 doesn't mean you're not a beginner in terms of your technique and your experience and your lifting years. Those people have overdeveloped erectors. Erectors are going to be a stability tool, a stability muscle in the deadlift, not a main mover. The main mover is going to be glutes, hams, quads, same with lats. So that's going to be another stability thing with our erectors. So you get those overdeveloped, and then underdeveloped glutes, hams will cause injury or plateaus in the long run. So what we're going to focus on, like I said, is pushing back into them, focusing on that. Pre-workout action going on. Then we got some squats. I'm gonna hit some heavy threes in the deadlift if it feels good. My back is feeling a little wonky. I think I slept weird on it. So I'm gonna try to fix my back with this warm up slow, see how it feels. That's kind of the auto regulation within my programming. Heavy threes and AMRAP, and then 10s on the squat. Follow along with me. So I'm here describing fatigue training, peaking with two of my proteges who are about to smash their meet. Daniel had a little bit of a bum knee, a little bit of a bum shoulder, so he took a week off, and then the week he came back, he crushed his weight. Well, this is why, my friends. Wow. You see, so when you start to push this thing, it's like we're coiling up fatigue, right? Oh, kind of hard. Oh, it needs to be on a barbell. It gets more difficult, right, the tighter it gets. So we're building that fatigue. And my analogy was those little toys that you coil up and they go fucking flying, right? So the more you twist it, the harder it is to twist it, but the further and faster it goes. True. So what you did is just give it one twist because it was fresh. And so you'll go less far. The more fatigue and tension you build up, which your top end goes higher. Okay. But now since that fatigue is already down because you had to take that week off, that top end comes down also, even though that moved faster.
So you're saying there's a chance that week off could have
none of it's going to have a great effect. But if you were to make that week into a month, then that top end power goes down because that fatigue hasn't built it up.
I see what you're saying.
Right? It's like a scale.
I see what you're saying.
Right? So in this case, he was just so happy with how fast 635 moved. Whereas if he didn't take a week off, 635 may have moved slower, but that doesn't mean that you're weaker.
Yeah.
It means that top end is growing. We're building up this tension of the fucking volcano. They're about to burst to a 771-pound squat in 3 weeks.
770?
Buckle down, sit down. We got some deadlifts, and more deadlifts for you guys, showing you basically from our warm-up all the way to our max sets. As I mentioned in the previous clip, Smokey and Dano, I've been coaching them for almost a year now, heading into this meet. Smokey and Dan, everything's going well. Everything's going great. Dan had a week and a half. That's why I was yelling at him that he had to take off due to some bumps, bruises. Better be safe than sorry when it comes to some injuries. So we backed off a little bit. He thought he hurt his shoulder. Well, he did hurt his shoulder. We thought he injured his shoulder. So kind of a big difference there. And so we just had to feel it out for a couple days. So we missed a squat sesh, missed a deadlift sesh, and missed about 2 bench training sessions. So then we had to scale things just to make sure he's on track for game day. You know, people do get caught up with numbers and PRs in the gym, but when your goal is to hit a PR lift or total at the meet, all that really matters is that you're ready and prepared to display that strength in a 1 rep max fashion on meet day. So I know I talked about some technique and stuff, but going into more, you know, programming and peaking, it's just all about building on previous weeks, previous months, previous years of training to build that strength and to recover in time, to adapt in time, to accumulate volume and fatigue properly, that you are ready to crush weights when it comes. Now back to the technique stuff. I was talking about falling back. Pulling slack out of the bar is another common term, but basically I'm just trying to lock in my midsection once my feet and everything are set, and then start to fall back. Not necessarily get my shoulders way behind the bar or anything, but as my body weight and momentum are moving back, that's another leverage, another 200 pounds for myself, and whatever your body weight is, that will help you move that weight off the ground. Otherwise you get kicked forward, some of that energy is going forward, and all that weight is ending up in your erectors and back. So we're going to constantly, something I see, and we're all going to try to improve that. Yes, class? Everyone just say yes. Thank you. Dano's so powerful, so he's not a very good example of this. He's just such an explosive guy. He's a tall guy. He's obviously a big guy, about 6'5", about 325. You can't really tell with him, even though he does get his weight back fairly well, but he's just so explosive off the ground, it doesn't really matter. Smokey, if you can get some of these side angles, I've been trying to step up my filming game for you guys so you get different angles, different views of hopefully different cues that we use. This is probably getting up to opener status for Smokey. This is fairly heavy. His best pull ever, I think, is about 545, and we're here with maybe 485 or so. He's still moving well. He's still kicking ass. But just to give you guys a frame of reference of how heavy it is, kind of similar for Dan. Dan's best pull in a meet is about 680, in the gym 715. He just wants to be like me. Ladies and gentlemen, go right now, give this a like if you guys think I'm the best dancer. And also, give this an extra like and an extra subscribe if you guys want to see me juju on that beat. I know that's what the kids are saying and doing these days, so I might have to hit that one for you guys. Back to where I was. To give you guys a frame of reference, Dan's working with maybe 585 and 605, and his best pull ever is 680. So these weights aren't light, although they make them kind of look light because they have gotten stronger, obviously. I expect PRs and probably all 3 lifts for all the guys. Dan, because of his shoulder, may struggle on the bench to hit a big PR, but we'll see. Me, myself, and I, just working on that technique, working on banging out reps. My best pull is that 705 in the outro that you guys will see soon if you haven't been subscribed. And here's 545 or so, just banging out triples. Things felt good, so I moved up to 585. Recently, in kind of my off season, I'm just trying to gain technical skill and add a little bit variation going on. So I do have my main competition day, which is today. I'm hitting that sumo deadlift. My form is feeling very locked in the more and more I get to practice it, which is cool. And then my other deadlift day later in the week is a variation to just help build general strength to hopefully get me to a 725, 745, 750 and beyond deadlift. Here you can see me kind of teeter-totter back, weight back, boom, 585. I think I hit it for a couple triples. 3 triples. It felt way heavier than perhaps it looked right here, although in video sometimes things look way easier and smoother than they feel. That's kind of a knock on some RPE stuff, in my opinion. That's also kind of a knock on videoing yourself, even though I am a fan of videoing yourself in terms of technique. Not always does it give you the most objective idea of how fast it went. Here's Dano with about 605 or 585. I can't see if there's change on there, but he absolutely demolishes this. He's a tall guy. He gets his back fairly flat, weight back right there, explodes with his legs, stands up tall. Right when it gets to your knees, kind of in the sumo and the conventional, you just really need to flex your quads, flex your glutes hard. Here's the last set for Smokey, watching him smoke it. That's where the nickname comes from. Nothing to do with smoking itself or inhaling anything, but just smoking weights. He gets all fired up. He's a pretty explosive kid too for not having a huge sports background. Really excited for them. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm out this. Like that bitch. Share that bitch. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you.